Translations. We have a table here of our terms, and we will translate those over to symbols for our mathematical operations. Recall that two of our operations have the commutative and associative properties, which means that we can change the order. These are addition and multiplication. So for those two, order does not matter. Subtraction and division, you have to be more careful with. The order does matter. They are not commutative. They are not associative. So we'll have to be careful with those. Let's look at some examples. First, we'll do one, the sum of a number and 5. Now, anytime you see the word a number, they want you to use a variable. We'll just use x, but you could use any variable. Right, our first operation word here is sum. Sum tells us to add, right? It's not the and. And is a separator. You'll have and in different operations. So sum tells us to add. And separates our pieces. So a number and 5. There's our translation. Now, you could have the order switched. You could have 5 plus x. It would not matter. So this is important to know when you look up an answer in the back of the book or online, whether your answer is equivalent. So for addition, you can change the order. Here's another example, the product of a number and 3. Your operation word is product. Product means to multiply. So we're going to have a multiplication. And is your separator. If you go in order, a number and the 3. That translation is just fine right there. It's probably not what you would see in the back of the book. Normally they would write that as 3x. It's just more compact, but both are correct. Here's a translation for subtraction. The difference. Difference means to subtract. And difference will always translate in order. Look for your separator. Remember, and is your separator. This one will have to go in a certain order. It will have to be 4 minus x. Another example. 5 less a number. As we just have the word less here, it is not less than. Less translates in order, so it's going to be 5 minus x. Must be in this order. For this example, 5 less than a number is also subtract. This is one of the two that goes backwards. So less than will go backwards. The 5 is what you want to take away, so it means subtract. But you're taking away 5 from the number. You have to just remember that less than goes backwards. Less than and subtracted from. Here is one with subtracted from. 4 subtracted from a number. So subtracted from means to subtract. It's going to go backwards. The 4 is what you're taking away, so it will have to be after the minus sign. Must be in this order. Our next example, quotient. Quotient means to divide. And the order is going to matter. And is our separator. We have two different ways we can write a quotient. We can write horizontal notation with the divide symbol. The quotient of a number, so our variable is going to go first, and 2. We can also use vertical notation, which is very common in algebra. You want to go top to bottom, so a number and 2. So this means divide. A number divided by 2, or the quotient of a number and 2. Must be in this order, but you could have either form. Parentheses are used when something is done to an entire quantity. Let's look at an example. Twice the sum of a number and 3. So our first operation word there is twice. Twice is a multiplication. It is not an exponent. It means 2 times. So we're doing 2 times, and we expect the second piece of that multiplication. What we get instead is another operation word or a quantity word, a sum. Sum, remember, means addition. So we're going to have to put this second one in parentheses because it's twice the whole thing. And then the sum will translate inside. So sum is add. There's your separator, a number, and 3. Now, once you realize that you have the parentheses, you would not have to have the dot. So if you have 2 with just the parentheses, that would be fine. And then you could even simplify that. We have a couple more examples. So first we have 4 times the difference of a number and 2. So we have 4 times, and we're expecting the second part of the multiplication. What we get instead is another operation word. The second operation word or quantity word has to go in parentheses. So difference is subtract. It will go in order, and is your separator. So you can have that, or you could have it without the dot once you realize that you're going to need the parentheses. The other one, your first operation word, difference, the difference of 4 times a number and 2. So difference is subtract, and is your separator. So the difference of 4 times a number, this is going to be our first piece. We could put a dot here. We could even put a parentheses and 2, but it's not 4 times the whole difference. So these two problems have the exact same words, but the order of the words changes the meaning. For the equal sign, which is used in an equation, we have the words equals, gives, is very common, was, will be, results in, amounts to, yields, and is equal to. If I have a long translation to do, I look to see if there is a word that would mean the equal symbol, and that will make your problem seem simpler. It'll break it apart. So I do have that in this one, is equal to. So that will be my equal symbol. So it'll be like 2 small problems. So twice the sum. Right, so this one is going to need parentheses because I have 2 operation words back to back. My sum will go in the parentheses. Here's my separator, a number and 5 is equal to, breaks it up, 3 less the number. It's just less. It's not less than. 3 minus, you need to use the same variable. And there you have an equation translated.